Guys, the VA loan nerd here, Joey Matthews. I got Chase Waldron with me here. He is, he's a young stud right now, man. So long story short is I'm a weirdo. I was driving home and I see Chase's name all through my neighborhood. He's got a beautiful home listed in my neighborhood. So naturally, I do some research. I pull him up. I'm like, this guy's got some things going on. And we talk. And I ask you, how long you been in the business? How long you been in the business?
I just hit 1 year in February 1st. February 1st was 1 year that I have been licensed here in Arizona.
1 year in the business, and already what did you do in 2024?
In 2024, I was able to get 16 deals in escrow, and we closed on 12. So 4 of those were new builds where they didn't close in that first year time period, but 12 closed and 16 in escrow.
All right, so I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a loan officer. We're supposed to do like more units, right? My first year, I did 8 units. 8 freaking units. So here in a realtor, first year in this industry, and Grant, we'll talk about how you got into the industry, but 16 freaking units in your first year. Dude, congrats. That's insane.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're blessed. We're blessed, man. We had a great year. And I want to do more this year, so
I feel like you're probably tracking for it. You don't sound like you're afraid of work, which is important. People, don't be afraid of work. What brought you into tell us about Chase. Like, how old are you, dude? I mean, obviously you're a young stud. Like, I meet you, I'm like, this guy's younger than me. Everybody's younger than me. I'm an old man. But what brought you into real estate?
So my dad always bought and sold rentals when I was growing up, so I kind of saw that. And I always knew I wanted to do something in real estate, whether it be kind of on the side, investing in my own properties, is kind of always how I envisioned it. I got a degree here in Arizona at Arizona State, and I went to work for a construction company and did that for about 5.5 years. And during that, I kind of got into apartment investing, so syndications with other operators, purchasing a certain number of units, renovating and whatnot, investing in apartments. And I knew I wanted to do real estate full time. At a certain point, I was just, I kind of realized the construction, I wasn't, it was good. It was a good career. I just wasn't very passionate about it. And so I wanted to get into real estate in some aspect. The more I thought about it, I wasn't really sold on the real estate agent part of things at first, but the more I thought about it, it just kind of made sense, being able to, however hard you work, eventually it's going to pay off for you. There's no cap. You're basically working for yourself. You're a 1099. So I decided to get my license, leave the construction, and I teamed up with a guy who I knew previously through the church that I go to. And he's a part-time pastor there, but has been doing real estate here in Phoenix for just about 25 years. So anyways, that's kind of how I got into it, and then I just started hitting the ground running, man. I did it full time. I wasn't working on this while I was working in construction. I basically just hung up the construction and started going full time into that.
That's a leap of faith. That's a big leap of faith. I couldn't do it, right?
Yeah, and it was a time where people were like, oh, it's, the market's not that great. Things are slow. Interest rates are high, but I figured if there was a way that I could figure out how to do at least decent in a market that wasn't as hot, from what everybody was saying, then when it did turn and things started getting busier, then it would just be that much better. So I figured it was a good time to hop in.
Dude, I love that you said that too, because like one of there's like a leadership principle, like you can't lead with fear, and obviously people are trying to hold you back by creating fear. The fear doesn't exist unless you let it exist, right? Obviously, 16 units in your first year, there's no fear in there. What the frick were you doing to get 16 units in your first year? 12 and whatever, you're right. But what are you doing right?
So I think it's a number of different things. I think having the right people around you that have done it. Like I said, I partnered with a guy named Jeff Sutherland's been doing it a lot of years here. James Wilson, a number of different people who were kind of mentors to me, took me under their wing, and I try to just do exactly what they said. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, they want the advice and they go and sit through the training, and then they don't actually do what it is they're being told. And I didn't want to be that guy. You know, I didn't want to overanalyze things. I wanted to figure out what I needed to do and then just kind of fail my way through it. So I tried to do exactly what they said. I was reaching out, touching base, and just trying to build relationships with people. And the people that I already knew, the people who kind of knew me already, I maybe worked with them in the past, you know, they knew that I worked hard and they liked my personality. I wanted to just build on those relationships. So I was reaching out and trying to just get those relationships in a good spot with everybody, and then doing a lot of open houses. I would do, you know, at least a couple every single week. There was weeks where I would do 4 or 5 in a week open houses and just sit in there because I'm thinking, well, I might as well give myself the best opportunity to meet somebody. I know I'm not going to meet anybody new sitting at home, so I might as well make phone calls and work from an open house, a nice home, use their air conditioner, and hopefully meet some people. So
Keep
that's
your own
kind
AC bill down.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. But it's not, you know, the first 3 or 4 months I didn't have anything, you know.
Yeah.
And because it takes time, you know, especially when you're starting out, because this is the biggest purchase for most people. Their biggest purchase they're going to make, and then to, you know, trust you to represent them. You know, you got to build trust with people, man, and show them. So it doesn't happen overnight. And there was 3 or 4 months when I started of no deals. And that starts to wear on you, especially when you're used to getting paid every single week.
Yeah,
you know, and that paycheck isn't coming in. And then, you know, you're like, hey, I'm doing everything they're saying. Is it going to pay off? You know, it's just, I tried to always know, at least if I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if the guys, I know we talked a little bit about it, but if the guys that you work with that are telling you these things, if they've ever been involved in coaching, but that is literally like the main tenet of coaching, like, just keep doing it. Just keep swimming. Just keep. Sorry, naturally, 100%. I have 3 kids, so Finding Dory, Finding Nemo jumps in my head, of course. Yeah, so I mean, the moral of the story is you're already used to working 14-hour days.
100%.
You're just not breaking your back anymore.
Yeah, and that was something too. I know we talked about it a little bit previously, but when I was getting my license and I was talking to these, I was trying to figure out, hey, do I join a team? You know, which brokerage do I join? I was talking to a lot of different realtors, and a lot of them would say, man, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of hours, this and that. And I'm thinking, well, I'm already putting, you know, 12 to 14 hours every single day on a job site working for somebody else. How many hours are you working? You know, I mean, are you working 14 hours every single day? And even if you are, I mean, you're working for yourself. So now it's a totally different game. So I tried to keep that same regimen. I still, you know, I like working.
Yeah.
You know, I work a lot, but now I'm working for myself. I put those hours in on my business, you know, so.
It's a beautiful thing, and not enough people understand it. Do you feel like a lot of the people that you talk to, like, oh, it's really hard? Were they just trying to, like, get you to not be their competition because they were afraid of, like, if this guy gets in here, he's going to be good at it, you know?
Maybe. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, maybe so. I don't know. These guys didn't know me that well, so they were probably honestly trying to just wean out another person that watched the shows and thought it was going to be easy, you know?
Yep.
So that maybe that was why they were trying to, you know, harp on how hard it was, but.
Yeah, dude. I mean, hey, no one's dying. No one's died, you know?
Right?
So
yeah, exactly.
Keep working. And I love that you said, I mean, this is the biggest purchase someone makes, right? Up until the next time they buy a house, and that becomes the next biggest purchase. So, no, that's amazing. So I'm gonna the elephant in the room is your voice, right? So you're clearly from Texas, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's what, it's funny. A lot of people say, they're like, oh, are you from the South? I'm like, no, I'm actually from California. I don't know what happened. You know, I'm from a smaller town up north in between Sacramento and San Francisco.
Yeah.
So we grew up in the country. Maybe that's what it's about, but I don't know.
Dude.
Unfortunately, yeah, not from the South.
it was funny because the first time I talked to you, I'm hearing it. Yeah. And I don't want to say anything, but eventually I'm just like, all right, dude.
A lot of people, man, you'd be surprised. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, where are you from? And I'm like, just California.
Just a California kid, bro.
Right?
Yeah.
Surf's up, man.
All right. So, obviously, a year in the business, killing it. Where are you finding your most success? To generate leads, to generate clients? What are you doing to find that success?
So I would say open houses mostly. I think there's a lot of different ways to meet people and generate leads. and I mean, I think probably all of them will work if you do them long enough. I just gravitated towards open houses for some reason because it was an easy way for me to go and meet new people. Obviously, I'm always trying to build the relationship with the people that I already know, because you're kind of one step ahead with those people already. If they already know you and like you, people want to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So, I really put a lot of emphasis on trying to just stay top of mind and let people know that I'm here for them, the individuals that already know me. And then the open houses is really where I've generated all of my other business from meeting people through open houses, and I'll door knock neighborhoods for open houses. The very first deal I ever closed was somebody that I met door knocking. So that was an interesting story.
What?
Yeah. So I was out passing flyers out for an open house I was doing. I was knocking on the doors, handing out the flyers, and then I would always say, hey, do you know anybody that might be looking to buy or sell a home within the next year? And then they said, well, yeah, actually us. We've been renting here for a year and we hate it here. And so I said, well, I'm sure glad I knocked.
Dude.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. But open houses really is where I've been able to connect with people, because it gives you an opportunity to actually see people face to face. You're not just cold calling people. They can see, okay, they know what you look like. They know how you sound. And if you can connect with them, and hopefully, show them that, hey, you're here to help. You're the right guy for the job.
I've never been to an open house. And I'm in the Corps now, and they're like, hey, don't forget to go to your open houses on the weekends. I'm like,
so
open what?
go to your open houses. So is that agents that you're working with, if they're holding open houses, or what do they mean by that?
Just stop by open houses.
Oh, gotcha. Go pop in, because I've had people do that too. Like, oh, hey, just wanted to meet you. Here's a basket of goodies.
How do you feel about that? Like this is me learning from an agent. Like, what do you want from a lender in an open house? And maybe this is somewhere where I'll learn something, and maybe I'll go to an open house one day.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's tough, man, because I respect a guy who's out there getting after it and hitting the pavement. I can respect that.
Yeah.
So
you've been there.
That front,
door knocking.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So I can respect that. I feel like at the end of the day, it's all about kind of connecting again. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. When you and I connected, I don't really know what it was. It just seemed like, hey, this guy seems like a similar, like-minded individual.
Yeah, you work hard for a long time, and you're like, yeah, I'll just do real estate because it's wicked easy. Yeah. It's a totally different type of work, guys. No one's getting killed in real estate today.
Yeah, right?
Well, yeah.
So, I don't know, man. The guys, like I said, I've made some good connections, but I don't know, man. I can honestly say it's only been a couple times when lenders have came in, and I haven't worked with any of the ones that I've, and that's just me personally.
What kind of value add, do you get from a lender at an open house? That's the real question.
Yeah, we talk about, some of the programs that they're offering and stuff. And to be honest, man, I don't know. It's tough because if it's not directly relevant to what you're doing that day, then it doesn't always stick. You know what I mean? That's what's tough, is that, you might be able to run across a situation where that would be super helpful, but by that time you might have forgot about it anyways, you know? And I think too, and this is just my maybe lack of knowledge, but I feel like I've talked to some people and they're like, well, can't my lender do that? Isn't my lender, can't they get that same program, you know? And so I guess understanding that, hey, not all lenders are created equal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these programs, how does it work? If a guy says, hey, listen, I have this program, is it something to where, hey, the lender you're working with might not even have access to this? Mm-hmm. And maybe if somebody pointed that out, I would say, okay, well, why don't they?
Yeah. I will tell you straight up, it is, I call it being in growth mode versus being conservative wealth protection mode. And this goes back to, I would say, the owners of a company and what they're looking to do. What I love about Neighborhood Loans here is the owners of this company are younger than me, right? They're older than you because you're young, but they're right in between.
Right.
But what that tells me too is they are in full-on growth mode. They are aggressively pursuing new products, new avenues, new ways to say yes all the time, right? So if we don't have an in-house program for something, we will find a way to get those programs. And the reason that matters is because if you're signing up for a new program, there's no real proof of concept showing that it works. Is it something that's going to lose us money? Things of that nature. That's what we'll call them older lenders will think about. People
Traditional.
Like you're not going to go to. Oh, man, I don't want to throw any lenders under the bus, but there's certain lenders that are owned by people. We'll just say they're in wealth preservation mode. They don't want to make those risky decisions where they feel like they're going to lose their ass. So. Right. Because there's going to be products that fail. You look at the subprime market, right? And that's not what's happening now, but if you look at the subprime market, it was set up for failure. I actually did originally when I got into lending, it was in 2005. I was in Iraq. I wrote 2 loans in Iraq, but it was all subprime stuff. So I'm no income, no assets. In The Big Short, they called it a ninja loan. In the real world, we called it a Nina loan. No income, no asset. Stated income, stated asset. As long as you had a decent credit profile, you could get a loan. It didn't matter. We weren't going to look at if you owned a bunch of houses. We just did whatever we wanted. We threw stuff at a wall and everything stuck, right? But the programs now, they're better designed for success because we've seen what happens when mortgages are not designed for success. But it also comes back to, is the owner of that company going to have the recency bias where they're afraid to attack a new program, get into a new program? Because it's true. You have to broker some things out to investors that have the nichier products. Like in the conventional VA, FHA, USDA, everyone can write that stuff. And I'm going to be the first one to say it. It doesn't matter if you can write a VA loan because everyone can. But are you going to write it frickin' well? And are you going to protect your veteran? Sorry, obviously, that's a me thing. As you're now well aware, I'm a little bit nuts when it comes to the VA space. Everyone can do those things, right? But do you want to play with frickin', I'm not going to use Muggsy Bogues. I'll use, do you want to play Joey Matthews or Michael Jordan in a game of 1-on-1, 2-on-2? I'm going MJ all day. And I like to think like me and a group of my friends were like getting able to play with the Michael Jordans of the VA space.
For sure. And I would say, just like us talking earlier about understanding, hey, if something comes up and somebody calls something out on an appraisal or something like that, and then someone who maybe hasn't done as many VA loans are like, okay, we have to do this.
Yep.
This is scripture, right? As opposed to someone who's done it 1,000 times and says, okay, hey, just because they say this, that might not be accurate. Let's dig into this a little further, right? That could save us all headaches so that we're not all running around in the 11th hour before we're about to close and now we're trying to hurdle this.
It saves everyone money too, right? Because here's the thing, and specifically I'll talk about a slow drain because I've also been called out for a slow drain. That's not a health and safety concern. It's a slow drain. Like, don't go by the Drano. And here's the other thing is a lot of lenders, they don't realize what a self-certification of repair is. So they're going to send the appraiser back out after someone's poured, $15 worth of Drano into this drain, and they're going to go look, and they're going to charge $200 to come back out to go look at a drain.
100%.
It's lazy lending, self-certification of repairs. If it's an actual repair that needs to be done, take a picture of it once the work is complete. If it's something more significant, I've had a roof self-certified. So we had to have a roofer come out, and the roof was a garbage roof. It was getting called out on anything, right? The roof got replaced. We took pictures of it, and we got the GC's invoice. So we knew that it was done in a workmanlike manner.
Yeah.
Self-certified. We didn't send the appraiser back out. We had everything we needed to just self-certify the repair. So we didn't have to have the appraiser come back out.
Yeah.
Dude.
And see, I feel like I've been in situations where they have had, okay, hey, we got to get this guy back out here.
Yeah. Like a smoke detector.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like simple things, man. You can't do it with other loan types. It's a VA thing. But it's because the VA, they don't require lenders to do it, but they, oh my God, what's the fucking word? Encourage. Hey. Yeah. All right. They don't require lenders to do it, but they encourage lenders to do it. Sorry, I had to get the F-bomb out of that. So I had to repeat. But they encourage lenders to self-certify because it saves everybody time and money. And I think that's the big, and I know you've done VA now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the full experience was. I know that there was a 11th hour thing that I'm not personally very happy about. I think it could have been worked differently, but it is what it is. But knowing just that is going to help you so much for future veterans.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's the thing too. I think when you have somebody that, like you said, if you got Michael Jordan, right, or somebody that specializes in that's their niche, they know everything about it, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable than just running into a VA buyer that says, hey, my uncle has used this company before and says they were solid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It can run into trouble. Yeah, a little bit.
Sure.
There's definitely some that pop into my mind, but I'm not big on getting sued right now, so I just leave their names out of it. Granted, this isn't going to get 3 million views. they're never going to see it, but you never. Let's hope it does.
Yeah.
And hopefully all those views are in the valley.
That's right.
But oh my gosh, what else? What else can we talk about? I'm thinking here, man.
This is a lot of good stuff, man. You've done this before.
Dude, so I do radio every Wednesday.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah, so like the podcast you do, for us it's also a podcast, but it's also on radio. So it's 6 a.m. on Saturday in Chicago.
Nice.
It plays on WCPT where the facts matter.
Do you do a lot of business still in Chicago?
Oh, a ton.
Really?
A ton, yeah. So but I'm also national, right? So I'm in. It's actually easier to list the states that I'm not in. So I'm not in Rhode Island, Delaware, Alaska, New York, Vermont. That's the only places that I can't write loans yet. We'll get those licenses eventually, but whatever. But again, I was in the military, so I know people all over the country. I was heavily involved with our fire service, so I would do classes, all kinds of stuff, like nationally for the fire stuff, right? So I just know people everywhere. But being from Chicago, being from Illinois, and my own personal background, I'm always going to be heavily involved in Chicago. But I'm all over the country. And
how has it been, like with people in your own community? Mm-hmm. Do you get a lot of people from your own community that need help, or not really?
In terms of
like loans,
like the fire
people
service, leaving,
like people in your community, right? If they were moving.
Are you talking about Whiteling right now?
Yeah,
in particular?
Yeah.
So it's funny. My community is like there's people in finance. There is a lot of realtors in there.
Really? They live in there?
Dude, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to talk offline. See you there.
I love it. But you said the hawk with off the bat.
Yeah.
But in terms of those, I get questions. I think because of my stupid truck, I'm always going to be the guy for VA.
Man. Yeah, I like that thing. That's clean.
It was the best investment I ever made.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of calls?
I think that you would be surprised at the amount of calls that I get.
Nice.
I did 2 pre-approvals for my truck last week, and I walked them downstairs.
Wow, very nice.
And now I'll walk them to Chase.
Yeah, that's right.
But
it's all about answering that phone call.
It really is, man. Like, oh my goodness gracious.
And that's pretty crazy, man, because just thinking about that, right? You have business for people. They're walking in your office, and then you make however many phone calls and can't seem to get a hold of anybody. You know, and that's huge too. And I don't understand that. When I reach out to people and people have a hard time answering their phones, it's like, how do you operate?
Dude, this anvil sitting in my pocket has been killing me since I started.
It's tough. It's tough.
I promise. It actually, if you look at the specs on the website, they'll tell you how much it actually weighs. It's less than an anvil, I promise. It's not 1 ton, that's for sure. But it's funny, like, the phone is like the best weapon that you have, and if your phone's ringing,
it's a good
pick
problem
that
to have.
mother trucker up.
And that's the thing is, so many people, we talked about it, so many people have a tough time reaching out to people, touching base, showing them that they care, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at it that way, everybody's scared of being, the salesman.
Rejection.
You know what I mean? Yeah, rejection. It's like, hey, if you're just looking to befriend people, then, I had a guy tell me, he's like, hey, you don't need more escrows, you need more friends.
Yeah.
So go out there and make
some friends,
and then the escrows will eventually come.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you look at it that way, like you're literally just out there to help people, making calls, becomes easier, I feel like.
Dude, whoever said that, I love.
He's a legend.
One of the things I talk about is just like I become friends with every client, whether I've known them forever or they are a referral. I become friends with everybody that I work with.
That's the goal, for sure.
Dude, you every day for 30 to 90, however long the transaction is, depending on the situation, depending on how their shopping goes, because I like to be super involved. Again, VA, a lot of VA. I love being super involved with the shopping process because, let's be very blunt, it's probably the most hated loan product out there because people fear, guided by fear. Don't be guided by fear. People fear what they don't know, but if I can get on the phone with a list agent or even I'll talk to a seller, I don't care. People are afraid of what they don't know, and they view the VA as like this big scary monster that, bad appraisals, low values.
Is that because they're just not familiar with it?
Yeah.
Is that the biggest thing? They just haven't done a lot of them, so they're not 100% sure how the ins and outs of them?
It's that and experience with lenders who take over VA loans that don't write a lot of VA loans, because at the end of the day, education solves everything. You know, I before I got into VA, I had no idea that you could self-certify repairs. Before I really started getting into VA, I was one of those guys like, I'll just do one or two and, it'll just hopefully work. But once I saw like the real power behind the loan, like, dude, I think once people realize what you can and can't do, I've had plenty of times where the list agent afterwards was like, I was so nervous about this loan, but that was the easiest transaction I've been a part of. Let's do more together, right?
Right.
And that's awesome because I love being able to be a go-to for VA for anybody, right? But regardless of if they come to me or not, at least in the future, they don't fear it as much. And hopefully they'll be able to screen any lenders that come in with veteran pre-approvals, whatever. But
and when you have a guy to reach out to,
and
you can run questions by him.
You
got somebody to call.
Yeah, dude. Like,
that's funny.
Don't be. I think like the big thing here is, one, obviously do work. You're crushing it, and I'm so happy that you came in because this has been awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
But also just don't be guided by fear. Like, there's so much fear-mongering in this market. I literally see it every day. I'm not going to name names, but oh my God, it's disgusting.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it makes more room for you. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, if people have a hard time picking up the phone and you're the guy that actually can pick up that anvil, that's more room, more space in the market for you.
I mean, going from 400,000 lenders in 2021 to 95,000 this year, that's
that's a big statement right there.
Yeah, dude, it's I know. So and this works on both sides, but it is. I've had some pretty cool jobs. I've done a lot of really cool things in my life, but this is the most, I would say, gratifying in terms of like the feeling that you get. I've had people crying at the closing table, like,
right. Yeah, it's beautiful, man. I mean, that first. When I mentioned that first closing that I got from that door knocking, that was a family that had young kids, and it was awesome, man, because we got to get them all out there, do the photo shoot out in front of the home. The kids were rolling around on the carpet. It was awesome. It was their home, their first home. It was a good feeling.
That is, you changed a life that day.
100%. It was awesome.
Never downplay that. You're changing lives. Every closing, you're changing lives, whether it's an investment, a second home, whatever. You're doing something that is a benefit to that family. So, again, dude, I'm so happy that you came in.
I sure appreciate you having me, man. This is a lot of fun.
Keep killing it in the space. Let's get you some more VA loans,
man.
And dude, anytime you want to come in, we're always happy to have you. I love having good people around, so you're one of those people. And
hey, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.